So then in '92, you just out of the. Why did you decide in '92 it was time to like say this on stage?
Well, I had just sort of my sister and I, my sister sort of fleshed out some of the details for me, and then I did some work on it, and it was right when the Rodney King stuff happened. Everyone was on TV knocking all these kids, saying kids, and so we're doing a benefit for the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I just went on and said, a lot of people have a lot of shit to say about kids. But, kids come from somewhere. Things happen to kids. And, if you have some context for people, maybe. And then I said, for instance, and I told my story.
You knew that day you were doing it, or was it something
later in the afternoon? It kind of came to me.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it happened on stage.
I didn't tell anybody at the club.
Right.
And Sweeney insisted on closing the show. Steve Sweeney insisted on closing the show. I don't think you're going to want to close this show.
You were writing a set list. It was cats and dogs, and childhood rape.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Here's Steve Sweeney.
And here, ladies and
follow that.
What's your closer? Well, I'm going to talk about trauma and then do the arms bit.
Yeah.
And then the headlines were everywhere, and then it changed your direction in life for a while there, Barry.
Yeah. Then I ended up, then the internet started, and I ended up getting on America Online, and then some people directed me to this shit that was going on there. They were just openly trading child pornography in the member-created chat rooms on AOL, and I, in good faith, went to them and said, "Look at what's going on here. What are you going to do?" But they played it dumb because they were making money.
Right.
Back in those days, it cost $3 or $4 an hour. After 10 or 12 hours on AOL, it was $3 or $4 an hour to stay on AOL. These guys all had $1,000 a month AOL bills, and there were hundreds of them.
Right.
So I kept complaining, and they kept, kind of thinking they could appease me with this corporate talk. And then I ended up getting invited. My friend Alana Lawrence hooked me up, and I ended up testifying in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee about it, and that's in the movie.
It is in the movie, and it's intense. It's great how you worked that into
that guy
film.
was a real cocky lawyer.
No shit. That's why it was intense.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about Pete Townsend when he said that he was just going to investigate? Did you find that believable? Or?
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I heard Tommy. I think he comes from somewhere. Right. That's the only opera I ever cried at. I went to the Broadway version of it, and it really hit me. It was right when I was sort of dealing with my stuff, and I wept at Tommy was.
I think Roger Daltrey cried at that too. The Broadway version. There's a story of Roger Daltrey sitting next to Penn and Teller. Yeah, and at the end of it, Teller leans over and he goes, "Now you know how I feel watching Siegfried and Roy."
That's great. But you got a lot done with the AOL chat room, certainly.
Yeah, that was why I wanted, partially why I wanted to make the movie was it was a real Caparesque kind of scene, where he goes to the and he lays this little guy against big corporation, and he kicked ass on the floor of the Senate. So. And his story that he'd written in the Boston Phoenix was really funny and emotional. And so I'd always knew I wanted to make it as a film. And originally, a film, Jesus, I would punch me in the throat right now if I heard Bobcat Goldthwait talking about making films.
Well, it's a nice piece of work.
You're a piece of work. No, but it just seems the word film, I still can't get past. It's like, oh Mr. Hot to Trot, please talk to us about your film. So, I initially wanted someone to play Barry because I didn't want him to relive this trauma, and I just didn't want to, and I also thought it'd be way more commercial.
You didn't want that.
No, and so
who were you thinking could play Barry?
Well, partially it was a little bit
Vic Tayback.
It was well, I mean, the real origin of the story, the movie that we finally made was. Robin Williams was my best friend, and I know that's who I had in mind, but that was 20 years ago. And then, so what happened was Robin is a fan of Barry's and knew Barry's story and knew that I was passionate about making this as a movie, and he actually suggested, because I wasn't having any luck getting a narrative made, with someone cast as him, and he said, make it as a doc. And then he actually kicked in the initial money that I used to start filming, and that was just February 2014. So the movie came.
Let me ask you. So you mean that when you went and pitched a a narrative film about a left-wing political comic in the United States who was raped as a little kid. They just didn't.
They didn't get it.